We now have a ruling on Retaliate, which has been kind of a whole big saga. It's been kind of crazy. Actually, the ruling itself was a whole big saga. We're going to get into all of it in a second, but I think before we do, let's first understand why the question actually came up in the first place. All right, so originally this all got started because I did a Sunday morning coffee game, Scarlet Witch versus Thanos, right? And we're playing along, and when I went from stage one Thanos to stage two, I added Thanos' helmet. And on Thanos' helmet, it states that he gains Retaliate. So the whole way this gameplay happened was basically I brought him from stage one, stage two. He gained Retaliate. And the next thing he did was hit me with a really big attack where I had Tough that would have like knocked out my character. And I went on, I think, to win the game. I don't even know if I won the game or not. Anyway, someone I trust a lot on the rules in the comments wrote, actually, what should have happened was you should have been retaliated from stage one to stage two, right? Even though you didn't attack stage two, you should have been hit with the retaliate. And I thought that was weird. I've never heard that before. And I asked some rules experts that I trust in my Discord. The link is down below if you want to go, hang out and talk about rules and stuff, because we discussed this very rule in length for the past 3 weeks. And they said, no, actually, you should take the retaliate damage. So I was like, well, let me open this question up to more people, because was I the only one playing it wrong this entire time? Like, if I was, that's fine. I don't really care. But it just seemed like weird. Like I couldn't wrap my head around it the whole time. And so I made this video. This was about 3 weeks ago. And it's about 3 weeks ago. We were just asking the question, right? Like, do you all play this way? And a lot of people were kind of in the comments saying that, yes or no, whatever, but it was kind of back and forth a little bit and whatever. And a lot of people didn't understand why you would possibly take the retaliate damage. I even asked a poll on it at the same at that time. Rules question for you all: if you're on stage one of Thanos and hit him for enough damage to the next stage, when he now gets his helmet and that gives him retaliate, have you ever given yourself 1 damage for the retaliate? 88% of people said no, they didn't do that, right? And I was in that camp too, that 88%. And you can look through the rules, and there are some different things that people had issues with. Just really quick, retaliate says, after a character with a retaliate keyword or X keyword is attacked, deal damage to that attacker. A part of my issue with that was I didn't attack the character with the retaliate keyword. I attacked a character without retaliate, and they gained it later on. And people were explaining, no, it doesn't matter, because retaliate actually checks at the end of it. And it's like, okay. And then when people said, well, he's defeated, why would he do anything then? Right? This is the whole when defeated or villain defeat. Why would he do anything else? And why can I play cards of when defeated? Right? If you played like chase him down or whatever, some example of a card of when defeated, why can I trigger that card, but the villain's not actually defeated and he can still retaliate, right? Like, it was like just a very weird thing overall that people were confused about and just wanted some clarity on. And that's really where this kind of stemmed from, was just want clarity, because obviously there's a lot of confusion. If just on a rough polling sample, 88% of people had said it, that they played the way I did, which was the incorrect way. So this was also asked on Reddit. I saw it was asked on I think it was on Facebook too. And a lot of people were like, I would never play retaliate that way. Like, it doesn't make sense. And that's where then eventually people were bringing up this old Caleb ruling. This was about a little over 3 years ago. When you defeat the first stage of a villain with retaliate using attack, does the retaliate trigger? Retaliate says the character must survive the attack to deal with this damage. I'm not sure how that interacts with villain stages. Caleb responded, if the new villain stage that enter play as the result of your attack has retaliate, then you must resolve it. Now, this doesn't really help the Thanos situation, because Thanos is getting it from a helmet. So where does that fall in the timeline of things? And we don't have a very sound structure of how the order of operations should work. My argument too with this was, well, I'm going to go ask Fantasy Flight Games the question directly, because I don't think basing all of this off of a 3+ year old ruling is the best way to do things, right? They changed their minds a lot about rulings. The rules have changed a lot over time. They've clarified things, they've simplified things. So the argument that I've heard from some people was, well, they already answered this 3 some years ago, case closed. Well, no, I think it's still worth asking the question, especially if, 88% of the player base is not playing that way. So that was how this all got, started and stemmed from, and all that fun stuff. And since then, we just kind of waited. We just waited. Now, I never got a response from this, but somebody else did. And here's the thing. This is kind of crazy, the way that this whole thing worked. So I can't find their original post. I think they deleted it, which kind of makes sense, but we'll get into it. So this was his original post, this Redditor's. Rules question. The question about Marvel Champions LCG, a villain who didn't have the Retaliate keyword in stage 1 have attacked a hero and they get in stage 2. Does the hero have to take the Retaliate damage? And I've been answered by Fantasy Flight Games. And he kept his name private, which is fine. So they said, to answer your question, yes, if a hero attacks a stage 1 villain and the stage 2 has Retaliate, the hero must take the Retaliate damage. This is almost just verbatim of what the Caleb ruling was. And so they were just reiterating that. So that was the original thing, right? So then they wrote, feel free to reach out if you have more questions. Sincerely, Alex. And at this time, I was worrying that they might be misunderstood. English is not their first language, my questions, but some of you guys tell me it was the correct answer and they understood it correct. If it is correct, although the stage 1 from the stage is changed from 1 to 2 and they gain the Retaliate keyword, among the last step of the attacking, we have to take the Retaliate. I thought it was weird, and I feel like they misunderstood my question, so I had asked about it, and they answered again today. Now, in the original post, this section didn't exist. In their original post, which, again, I wish I could find. Maybe someone could pull up in the comments. What they wrote was, I don't know if I'm phrasing this wrong, because, again, English is my first language. And I didn't write anything, but in the Discord, we talked about this. It was like, oh, it was a fine question. Like, that's I would have personally, my question went into a little more detail, I believe, about the helmet. It's been a while, but the helmet was the bigger thing of how that interacts and how it interacts with when defeated and whatever. And I'm sure other people asked this question too, and they might have asked it in a even better way than myself or this other individual did. So a lot of people are just like, no, you asked the question right. Like, what more could you want? They went through it and they said that, their answers are reviewed by both Marvel Champions, their card game design team, and the games rules specialists. We're good here. And it was just, okay, cool. Now at least we have clarity. At least we have an updated rule versus one that was 3+ years ago, right? It's good to get clarity. It's good to ask these questions because this will just help everyone moving forward. So anyway, they asked again, which is interesting. So question, do I have to take Retaliate damage? But when hero attacks villain, the villain didn't have the Retaliate keyword. Villain just gained Retaliate keyword as changed to stage 2 among the last step of attacking. Does the hero still have to take damage though? Which is kind of what my original argument was to this, that I didn't attack a villain with the Retaliate keyword, right? If you look back at the rules, after a character with the Retaliate keyword is attacked, did I really attack it? And again, I get the other side of the argument is, well, no, because they finished with it, so you did attack them with it. But it seemed kind of weird to me. This wasn't like the only argument against it, but this is just the one. Okay. So they answered it again when they wrote, hello again. The team and I discussed Retaliate again after getting more questions about it. My ruling from yesterday was based on an old example that we now believe is outdated and does not align with what we want for Retaliate going forward. We are planning to update Retaliate to have a trigger specifically when a character that has it is not defeated after being attacked. An attack that brings a stage 1 villain's hit points to zero counts as having defeated that stage. So if it's stage 2 as Retaliate, the keyword does not trigger for that attack. Please keep this updated ruling in mind going forward. Sincerely, Alex, team specialist, whatever. In conclusion, rules will be updated, and they have said in their live stream they're updating the rules in 2 weeks from whenever this video is getting published, roughly 2 weeks. It is not defeated after, it is not defeated after being attacked, and defeat is applied to each stage villain's hit points. So hero doesn't have to take Retaliate damage in this situation. I hope you guys don't be confused about this topic. I want to stress one thing about this, one final thing about this. I believe that this shows it's important to ask questions, to make sure that your questions are worded as well as you can when you submit them to Fantasy Flight Games. Not because we're trying to get rules changed or anything like that or something silly, right? It's not about that. It's about something was really confusing and we just wanted clarification on it. And I think when people look back at a 3+ year old ruling that was kind of vague and didn't really cover a lot of situations, that because the game has changed from the past 3 years, they just wanted more clarity on it. I think this is why it's really important to bring up these questions on forums, on Discords, or whatever it may be, pages or posts or whatever. It's important to bring this up so that we can have civil discussion back and forth with each other. And then when you still, if you still don't get it, go ask Fantasy Flight Games. That's what I did, right? I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. It wasn't because I was saying, oh, everyone that was playing it the correct way, the old way, I guess we'll call it now. I wasn't saying that they were all wrong. It was saying I didn't understand it. I'm missing something. I don't understand what's going on. And am I the only one? And that's why I made the original video. That's why the Reddit post exists. I didn't even make the Reddit post. Other people did because not that they agree with me, they were as confused as I was. That's why I made the poll, because I wanted to know if I was the only person out there that was confused about this ruling, because it didn't quite make sense. 90% of you, roughly, played the way I did. And we played it wrong. But we did it because we were confused. And I just want to point out something really quick. I saw a lot on Reddit, on Facebook, on Discord, where people were asking the question and they were getting belittled by other people in the community. It was gross. It was really gross that if you had a genuine question and the only explanation that people were throwing out was, not the only one, but one of the explanations was this was ruled 3+ years ago, right? And if you read the rules this way, it makes sense. Right? And those people might have been right in the rules, but the people are like, there's questions I have with it. And they were mocked. They were made fun of. And that's not what this community is about. I saw a lot of that. And look, in the end of the day, I don't think you should really just sit there online and argue with people back and forth. I think this person and other people did the correct thing. You answer the question of Fantasy Flight Games, right? Have them rule on it. They are the rules masters at the end of the day. But this is why it's important to ask these questions, right? Especially on rulings that are that old. Now, obviously, if Caleb had made that ruling about 6 months ago, a lot of people would have been like, yeah, okay, the ruling just happened. That makes sense, whatever. But the game has changed a lot in that amount of time. So to the people out there that ask the question, like, good on you, right? Good on you for asking that question. It's important to ask these questions so that you understand the game, not just for you as a person, but because most likely you are going to go out there and teach other people how to play the game. And those new people are going to have questions about the game because they're going to love it like we all do. And if they love the game and end up having a question about Retaliate, you want to be able to explain the correct answer to them, right? As easily and concisely as you can. You want it to make sense because we want to keep people in this game. This game is a lot of fun. It's really, really cool to share with others. It really is. So we just want rules clarified and explained, and that's all people ever ask for. So anyway, I saw there was a lot of people getting attacked online by, probably from a handful of people. It might have been a lot. It might have been a little. I don't even know. But I saw people getting attacked online, for asking a question. I just want to say to those people, don't ever feel bad for asking a question. Don't. It's okay. Just ask the question. Let Fantasy Flight Games rule on it. It's good to see. Whether this change happened or not doesn't really matter to me. I just wanted clarity. I just wanted to be explained a little bit more. That's what I was hoping for. I still actually hope they answer my question. Not because I want a response, but because I talked more about the when revealed effects of Thanos' helmet and kind of where that falls in the timeline. But they have announced they are doing an update to 1.6 rules coming in about 2 weeks from this video. So maybe that timeline will be in there, and then my question will just be answered naturally, and I don't have to worry about it, right? But anyway, so that is the saga. That's the update of this ruling. It was a crazy time. It was a crazy day yesterday. But it's nice that, we have a ruling, that it's explained, that they went into a bit more detail about it, and we'll see if they change it again soon. So anyway, let me know your thoughts about this ruling. Write down in the comments what you think. Do you like the change? Do you not like the change? Does it make it easier? Does it make it harder for you? I don't know. Wherever you may be. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you all next time.